Okay. Tahani, are you ready? Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And thank you for joining the meeting today. And I'd like to start with our prayers to the people in Sudan, inshallah. And ربنا يتقبل الشهداء ويرجع الناس المفقودين ويتم إن شاء الله ربنا يتم الشفاء عاجل الشفاء للجرحى إن شاء الله ربنا ينصر الثورة والثوار في السودان. So we can start and hopefully we'll have a good meeting today. I know some people might not be able to attend, but for those who are attending, hopefully we will get a nice meeting, and the recording will be available for those who couldn't attend. And if you are ready, you can start.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. I am Tamada Robet. I will be moderating this meeting for Telegeriatric Research Fellowship today, November 13, 2021. Our agenda for today, part one, mock interview, Dr. Amna and Dr. Sarah Ahmed. And part two will be SPSS tutorial with Dr. Khalafallah. And part three will be article, Cas Batul used to appraise on article, Dr. Al-Wali. He will be live in Arabic TV, and he will join us, I think, after 1 hour to present his part. And good luck, everyone, with interview. So, Dr. Amna, Dr. Sarah, are you ready?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Dr. Sarah?
Dr. Sarah, are you there?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. Sorry, I just opened my camera. I didn't thought that we will start with the session, but I'm here. Yeah, Amna. Yeah, I will open the camera while you're starting to ask me.
Okay. So, Dr. Sarah, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Just going to open the camera. Just give me a second. Yeah. So, hi, Dr. Amna. Thank you for having me today. I am originally from Sudan. But I spent most of my childhood in Saudi Arabia. My father was a teacher there. Then I moved back to Sudan, where I did my medical school. I also did the internship after graduation, worked for 2 years in intensive care unit before I moved to the Republic of Ireland in 2015. An experience that was really enriching, and I am forever grateful for. Living in Ireland was a nice experience, despite that it was actually the first time for me to move away from my family, but exposed to the Irish healthcare, being exposed to the Irish healthcare system, and exposed to the Irish culture, and knowing a lot of people from diverse background has helped me to improve a lot. I moved to the United States last year to join my husband, and since I moved to the United States, I am enrolled in a geriatric fellowship in Michigan State University, and I finished my USMLE exam, and I am here now, hoping to pursue my dreams. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, why did you choose internal medicine?
Yeah, so basically, me choosing internal medicine was a gradual process. So since the medical school, I was really fascinated by pathology and physiology subject. I remember I would spend hours studying and I was really fascinated by how the body works, all the systems work together. So when I started the clinical rotation, actually, I was really amazed by the diversity of cases that I can see during internal medicine rotation. I was really, I also like the process of finding the diagnosis of in internal medicine patient. To me, it was like just finding the last piece of a puzzle. Also, the satisfaction that I saw in the patient eyes whenever after treating them give me the sense of purpose. Last but not least, like internal medicine gives you a lot of opportunities in terms of the future career specialties and the type of practice.
Okay. I see that in your personal statement, you mentioned that you would like to be a geriatrician. So I want to ask you that I noticed that you worked in ICU, in nephrology, in gastroenterology, in geriatric. Why you choose geriatric medicine?
Yeah, so basically I'm coming from Sudan, where I wasn't actually exposed to geriatrics medicine. But when I moved to the Republic of Ireland, actually, it was for me the first time to work in a geriatric unit, which I was really fascinated by the multidisciplinary team. And I have noted how geriatrician actually make change in patients' quality of lives, something I really want to pursue for my future. Working with geriatric population is challenging, but yet rewarding. And like you're a physician, you're treating a lot of problems from chronic diseases like hypertension and diabetes, ending to even following up like surgical issues, psychiatric problems, and all that. So the holistic approach that the physician use to treat geriatric population is something really I like.
I see that you have worked in Ireland for years.
Yeah.
What do you want to go into USA and have your residency there?
Yeah, so basically it's been my dream to pursue a residency in the United States since I was in the medical school. But for many reasons, one of them is financial reason. I moved to Ireland to kind of prepare myself to do the exams and prepare myself to pursue my dream in the United States. For many reasons, I stayed in Ireland for 5 years. I was actually honored to finish basic specialty training of internal medicine and work in the Irish system afterward as a registrar. Finally, I'm here. I did my exams, and I feel like I'm ready, actually. And being in Ireland, it was an experience that I've learned a lot from, and it's really prepared me to continue my career in the United States.
Okay. Sarah, tell me why you choose our program, why you want to be resident in our program.
Okay. Basically, your program provided me with a lot of things. I feel that I was looking in a program, starting from your teaching schedule and curriculum, the friendly environment and the collegial environment that I felt during the happy hour with the residents and with the speaking and watching like the interaction between them, which is something I really appreciate in a program. And to me as well, I am living in Cape Girardeau, and the nearest hospital, actually the nearest program to me is St. Luke Hospital, which is something I would really love to be nearby my family, where my husband works here as an attending physician.
Okay. And why we should take you and choose you to be our resident?
Okay, I basically understand that you probably receive a lot of outstanding application, but I believe that my diverse experience in many healthcare systems between Sudan and Ireland and here in the United States has prepared me to be like to pursue my residency. I have worked in many multidisciplinary teams, including other healthcare professionals, which has improved my communication skills. I am a goal-directed, determined person. Like I remember last year during the COVID time, I was doing my USMLE exams. I finished an MSc in clinical research, and I was working full-time, which is something I'm really proud of. I am a hard worker person and a very organized person. For all this reason, it will all of this will reflect in my work ethic in the future as a resident.
Okay. Could you tell me 3 of your weaknesses?
3 of my weaknesses. Okay. Okay, I will try to remember as much as I can, but one of them is definitely I found it hard to give negative feedback whenever I asked for. It's not easy because some people does not get the feedback, the negative feedback well. And to improve this, I have studied a lot with which like to improve my communication skills. So I know that there is a sandwich method where you give a compliment, you tell the negative thing, and then you give another compliment. Other way is to give an advice by the end of this negative feedback. So the one who is receiving this feedback will benefit from your feedback. Other things I would say I'm a very detail-oriented person. So, which is something that sometimes might affect my performance in a way that I might a little bit get to stay longer, or sometimes I find it hard to get the job done on time. But to improve this, I have worked hard to kind of teach myself to just check my work as I am doing it and make sure that I do submit my work before the deadline. Yeah, that's what I can remember for now. Yeah.
Okay, fine. And how usually do you handle the stress of work when you feel that you are overloaded with a lot of work? How do you handle stress? How do you work under stress?
Yeah, okay. So I feel like I am really lucky that to have a very supportive family and a supportive husband. So they do support me during difficult time. Other things I do is I do love to walk and listen to music, which is something helped me a lot to relax and try to just think when I am having like a relaxed mood, quiet area, walking in the morning. I do also like to bake, which is something I do for de-stress a lot of times. I'm a social person, so most of the time I'll be socializing with my friends and try to arrange like going out with them and having chat with them, and even ask them for their advice if I am going through tough time.
Could you tell me that? Could you tell me about a difficult situation you encountered in your work and how you handle it?
Yeah, you mean with colleague or with a patient? Sorry.
Any of them.
Okay. So yeah, I will tell you like an experience that I felt that it was like tough situation and how I dealt with. Like, I remember while I was working in neurology department back in Ireland, that they were like a patient who was admitted with suspected stroke, and then we did all the workup, and the patient had an MRI done during his hospital stay. So the attending has gave me the responsibility to go and tell the patient that his MRI was normal and he is ready to go home, that he has no stroke. But actually, when I came back and rechecked the report, I found that the patient had actually a stroke in his MRI. And it was not easy. It was stressful to go back to the patient and tell him that I gave him the wrong result. What I did actually, I called my attending and I told him about that mistake. He advised me to go and apologize to the patient, which is something I did. I went there and I apologized to him, but luckily he was so understanding. And actually from this experience, I have learned a lot. I have learned that I have to second check before I go and tell a patient any information about his results, and take my time. And if I felt that I needed any help, even if with overwork or anything, that I have to ask my colleagues. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I finished my questions, and if you have any questions, you can probably answer it.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to ask. So I would actually, I want to know that, do you anticipate actually any change in your program in the next 3 to 5 years? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, we are. Actually, we are thinking of subspecialties. We are thinking about having subspecialty in the okay, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Amna and Sarah. Sarah, you did great. I like your confidence, your smile, and I think most of your answer to the point. And I like your answer about why we choose you as a resident, and also about your weakness. I think you answer it in a very good way. Any other comment about this interview?
Thank you. Thank you, Mother.
Anyone?
Thank you so much, Amina and Sarah. This is really great, and you did exactly what you're supposed to, and there is always room for improvement. So by practicing more and more, your confidence level will go up. And one thing I want to add, if you can, I think your face, your body in the camera is the right size to the camera, the distance and the image. I want you, if you can, try to use your hands for some gestures, just as a body language. You use your face, your smile, which is great, but you have still room to give some aspects otherwise. But I think you did great. So
thank you.
All in all, you have done great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader. I'm just using my mobile. I wasn't ready for, yeah, sorry.
Any addition about this interview?
Yes, I have addition. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Dr. Nader.
Good morning.
Firstly, Dr. Sarah, you did great. I congratulate you, and we benefit a lot from your answers. I would like to add a point with regards with your answer about weaknesses. About not weaknesses, I mean about your difficult situation you were in. Because I also faced a similar issue. I have been working in a emergency room in a private hospital, and one of my junior colleagues asked me, what is a beneficial drug? What is a standard of care for giving a patient who was overdosed on quetiapine? He was in a state of loss of consciousness. He take a lot of quetiapine, which is atypical antipsychotic, and then I told him that we can antagonize it by giving diphenhydramine, because as you know, diphenhydramine can antagonize the effects or reduce the side effects of antipsychotics. What's happened is that when they write diphenhydramine, the pharmacist gave us chlorpheniramine instead of diphenhydramine, and we give him 5 ampoules. The nurse gave him as instructed by me, and the patient, the patient did not recover. At last, he recovered and he gained consciousness and went home. But the point of this story is that I did the same which you did when you exposed to that stroke patient. I explained to them what happened, and we give the wrong medicine and the wrong dose of it, and I think that build a state of trust between us and the patient and their co-patients. So I think that you explained to the stroke patient that he has did you explained the wrong diagnosis at first, and then you correct. That's good, because I see that always it is good to correct yourself and tell the patient what happened if you made a mistake. That's the point which I like to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khalafallah, for your what you added. I'm not sure, but I was actually discussing that with someone who did residency here. He told me that to try to avoid that, you gave a wrong medication. It happens to everyone, and but it's not something that would be favorable to say in interview, because like giving the wrong medication or like putting patient in danger or like missing a very important diagnosis, it's something they know it happens, but you would prefer, like I've chosen this story because it's kind of, I've told the patient wrong diagnosis, but it didn't affect patient life, or it's a mistake, but it's not a bad mistake. Just, I'm not sure if someone, if other people, if like the other residents agree with me on my opinion. Thank you.
I agree with Sarah. Sorry, I just wanted to take the opportunity, but I agree with Sarah that we should not, I mean, I know, we all know that everybody does mistake. We all do everyday basis, but during interview, probably it's not a good idea to acknowledge such a huge mistake. Instead, like we can make our own story to overcome this question. Thank you.
Okay, that's right. I also agree with you both. Is that not mentioning such mistakes in interview answers? But I want to stress that in our practice in general, we should have this attitude of communication with patients, even if we don't did the standard of care or made a mistake in the side of them in their treatments. And also I saw this written and explained in some of the questions in the USMLE. it says that it is ethical to tell the patient what you did, and that will not make the patient sue you or file a sue against you or something like that, but it will build trust. That's the point what I like to raise. Not and I agree with you that we should not mention such mistakes in interview questions or interview answers.
I agree with you, Mohammed. That is absolutely right. And I think the take-home message for these consequences is that we have to build that trust by acknowledging our mistake to the patients and being honest all the time. So probably Sarah's answer, I mean, you can modify a little bit. That's like, yeah, that was a mistake that it was not diagnosed a stroke initially. However, I feel by that way, what I learned from this mistake that I build the trust with the patients. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumi, and thank you, Dr. Khalafullah. Up here, Abir. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this. We have to bring some mistake. We have to be honest, but not to this limit, and not to concentrate about the mistake itself. Just go about over it and concentrate about the lesson or our behavior to resolve this problem. And the advice to go away to bring some mistake that don't harm the patient, because in this example the harm already happened to the patient, and even if the patient accept you apologize and your I don't know how to say that, but issue like this when the patient, it should be reported and in American system, and even the root analysis should be done as a quality improvement. So it is a big issue if to give the patient a wrong dose or wrong medication. So my advice to be away from example like that and concentrate about your action to resolve the problem more than the problem itself. And thank you very much.
Lubaba, yes, I see you raise your hand.
Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. First of all, I would like to congratulate Sarah. You did great. You are very confident. You're smiling all the time. Your answers were on the point. I really enjoyed listening to you, and you kept like me the attention of the listener all of the interview. I want to just give a little bit about the weakness when you talked about the detail-oriented person. Try to avoid mentioning that impacting your performance. I can't agree with what Abir said. Focus on the behavior. How did you improve that thing, and how it's not impacted your performance? For example, you can say you are a detail-oriented, but because you know that about yourself, you're always trying to manage your time and not to allow this characteristic of yours impacting your performance, or just avoid mentioning that. The other thing, I like all your answers regarding why internal medicine, why this program, and specifically for the internal medicine, I think I'm looking for a story too. So you wanna like stand out with all of the applicants, I think, and so you need the program to remember you. Try to bring a story encounter with you with the patient, and then you can like build on that story, what things in the internal medicine that made you like from that case make you like found your passion in internal medicine, or something that the program will remember Sarah's story. If you notice all of the discussion after this interview, all of them, they're talking about the MRI, because this is the story that's designated in their mind. So this is the thing that they remember. So try to add stories to all of these talks, but you did actually great. Excellent. You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lubaba, for raising the first point. And I think I agree with you. One of the things that you can use, and usually it's kind of attention grabbing, when you use certain words, like when you mention your weaknesses, how you overcome that. One of the words, for example, you can say, I was interested or learned about efficiency, being efficient in my day-to-day task. One other option is you can mention that when I meet or when I face a big challenge, usually I divide that into small tasks. So task is a big option that use. And that option, dividing the job into tasks, it make it easier to achieve it in a simple, fast manner, something like that. So you can approach it differently than the usual long time taking approach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your comment and participation. If there is no other addition, so we can move to next agenda. Sorry for the background. The SPSS tutorial with Dr. Khalafallah.
Okay. Okay, give me a second so as I can share my PowerPoint. sorry guys for being late, but I'm trying to share it from my device. So can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's start. This is a brief talk about the SPSS. Just learning, we aim to learn the basics about this topic. As I am searching about it, I found that there is no much theories, no much informations about it, but they are very helpful practical videos. After I completed this short presentation, I will display a video, video tutorial, which will help us understand what we have said. So let's start. SPSS. What is SPSS? SPSS, it's abbreviation. It stands for Statistical Package for Social Sciences. It is a software. It is not a statistical method, not like the meta-analysis. Meta-analysis is statistical methods, but SPSS is a software which we can use to edit and analyze all sorts of data. Its power comes from that it can edit and it can analyze all sorts of data. So this name arises because of it was first used for social sciences, not for medicine. But with time, it became very popular in the medical field and in research, in scientific medical research. When we look on the history, we will know that it was first launched in 1968, very long time ago, but since 2019, it's officially known as the IBM SPSS statistics, after it has been acquired by IBM Corporation, which is International Business Machine Corporation. It is a multinational corporation, multinational technology corporation, which headquartered in the US in New York. It's called IBM, International Business Machine. If you buy a software, SPSS software, you will see that it's titled IBM SPSS. However, the SPSS is as a name is still used. What are the main features of SPSS as a statistical method? It can open all file formats that are commonly used for structured data, such as spreadsheets from Microsoft Excel or OpenOffice. It also can open plain text files and also other type of files, such as relational SQL database and Stata and SAS or SAS. So it's can work on various types of file formats. In the SPSS, basically, we have two main windows: the data editor window and the output viewer window. The data editor window, which we use to edit and enter our data, has two views: data view and variable view. We will see this in examples as we move in our presentation. The output viewer view, we will see also example for it. This will have a nice fit between the data to be worked and result in output. Also, there are other windows, which is syntax editor window, which is not very common and not everyone uses it. But if you see it, it likes a notepad. It's like a Word notepad program or software. It can be saved, corrected, rerun, and shared between users and projects. This is the benefit of the syntax editor window. We use syntax editor window when we are working in the data editor window and data view and variable views in the SPSS, the original SPSS or the basic SPSS. This the use of syntax editor window, it allows us to save what we did, what the work which we have did, and also correct it. And also it makes your SPS work replicable. If someone raised doubts about your work in SPSS and about the results you found, you can use the syntax editor window to reproduce your work and to ask him to reproduce the work that you already did. This is the benefit of this other window, which is the third window, syntax editor window.
Dr. Kharfallah, can I just add?
Okay.
Clarify. This last point he was raising about the syntax window. Basically, what we were talking about Sarah's weakness and how to improve. One of the things is efficiency. So in SPSS, when you are doing, let's say, an analysis, you run a test, and after you did the test, you found out that maybe you need more. Maybe the data you have needs clearing, or maybe you add a couple of more items or variables. So to run the same test, instead of going if it's 6 or 7 steps, instead of going through the steps again, the syntax is basically a small program where it will repeat what you did previously. Let's say you did a t-test and you created a graph out of that. So it will take 6 or 7 steps to do the test, get the table, get the graph. Instead of you doing the same 7 steps again and again later, it will be saved in the syntax window, and you can just highlight the syntax or the order or the command, and SPSS will run the same thing that you did in the past. And this can be saved so that, let's say, in 2 months from now, you want to repeat the same steps. You already saved that in syntax, which is like a command to the SPSS to run the same t-test and get the same graph. So it will be easier for you to save all this in a syntax program or file or window for future repetition of the same task. So it will be efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the tutorial, we can see that SPSS is used to analyze data in 3 basic ways. The first way is to describe data using descriptive statistics, such as the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum, the maximum, and frequencies. Description, describe data. You can use it to describe data using the descriptive terms and descriptive concepts, such as mean, standard deviation, maximum, minimum, and frequencies. Also, we can use it to examine relationships between variables. This is done through the correlational analysis, the regression, and factor analysis. A third use of SPSS is to compare groups to determine if there are significant differences between these groups. These are statistical methods which we know before, t-test or sample t-test, and ANOVA or analysis of variance, and non-parametric statistics. The SPSS can do this instead can do this and also do descriptive statistics. Variable view, we can have an example here for variable view. We talked about SPSS has two windows, editor windows and data editing windows, and the other window, which is data editor window. We have two views, data view and variable view. We have two windows, data editor windows and also other window. Let me go back. I think I thought I forgot it. Sorry. The output viewer. The output viewer windows, this is the other window. Now we are in the data editor window. In the data editor window, we have two small views, variable view and data view. If you look at the bottom of the slide to the left side, you can see that we are in the variable view. The variable view, it contains variables. The variables which we want to analyze include the name. We put the name of the variable, the type of the variable. It can be numeric variable. It can be not numeric variable. Numeric variables like age and like lengths and like durations. This is numeric variables. We put also the width of the variable, which is how much spaces for the variable can make. You see that the name of the variable is Q02. Width 2, because width 2, that means that it is two spaces. One space for every number or for every digit. Also, we see decimals. If it contains the variable contain decimals, we should write 1 if it contains 1 decimal. Here it contains no decimals, so we put 0. We go to the label. Label, it is the actual name of the variable. You can ask what's the difference between name and label. Name have no spaces. When you write the name of the variable, you write it continuously. You don't write it with the spaces. But in label, you can write it in the spaces. As you can see, political discussion frequency, political discussion, convince friends. When you write the name, you write it without spaces. That's the difference. We go also to values. The values. This is language. You can see this is German language and other languages. Values, you put what you are measuring. Label, this is we are dealing here in this example with language. Value will be the different languages that we found: German, English, Spanish, French, and so on. If we have missing, we write missing. If we have no missing variable, we will come to know what about missing later on, but it can be no missing, or it could be missing if you exclude some values. Also columns, also alignment to the right, to the left, and so on. Also we have measures. Measures, it could be nominal, it could be ordinal, it could be scale. Nominal, it means that the variable cannot be measured by a scale. It is not a scale value. It is nominal. This is like the gender. The gender is either female or male. The race is either black, is either Hispanic, either Caucasian. This is nominal. Ordinal measure, if the variable is ordinal, it is in levels. Secondary level of education, basic level of education, university level of education, and so on. If the variables are nominal and in order, we put them ordinal. If they are not in order, we put just nominal. If we are like age or like length, we put in a scale. So we have three options here in measure. This is root, this is not important, this is input. We are doing input now. This is also variable view. Better, I think this is better. It is more obvious. Here the name of the variable age. When we didn't put labels here, but if we put labels, we can put with the spaces. A name will not be with the space. This is type. This is width, decimals, if it's contain decimals. Type, we talk about types. It could be numeric, it could be non-numeric. Age, numeric. Gender is not numeric. This is not, I think this is not or standard of SPSS use. Marital status also not numeric. Age, numeric. Gender is not numeric, it's either male or female. But why he is putting numeric? Let me explain. Because when you put the gender, we put it either 0 or 1. Male for 1 and 0 for female. We can do it like that. So we put numeric. Ethnicity, we can say black, Hispanic, Caucasian. We put 1, 2, 3 for every one, or 0, 1, 2. So it's still numeric. This is will help us analyze in the analysis when we go to the analysis later on. We have no decimals, no labels here. Values according to the age. Age is the values 1, 18, 25, and so on. Here gender, male, 1 male, maybe 2 female, and so on. We have a look at the variable view. This is the data view. The data view displays information about the variables in your data. About the variables. After we put the variables, then we enter data. So the first step is we put the variables, and then we enter the data in the data view. This is the variable view. This is the data view. After we put the variables, we clicked on the data view. The data view, it shows like this. Last name, gender, date of birth, education, marital status. These are the variables. Name and gender and date of birth and education, these are the variables. Marital status, these are the variables. This is the name, different, as you can see. Gender, we can either male or female according to that. We put it 0 or 1. Date of birth, we put the date of birth. We enter the data. So we enter the data according to what we did in the variables. According to what we set the variables first, and then we enter the data in the data view. After we did this, we click on analyze. And in the video which I will show you, it will help us understand how we do the analysis of the data. Output viewer window, which is the second window, output viewer window. It looks like this. Here we have, this is the data editor window, which contain variable view and data view. The data editor window. This is the output viewer window. This is the output viewer window. So as you can see, we analyze frequencies. We put in the descriptive analysis that we want to analyze for frequencies. This is a table. It shows it is valid or missing. If you have missing informations, it will be shown in this view. And if it is we have valid, here we have no missing. All are valid. Valid to be tested. this is valid to be tested and valid to be analyzed. That's the meaning. Also here is the region. We can see German, French, Italian. The frequency 742. They spoke German. 244 spoke French. 50 spoke Italian. And the total 1036. Here the percentage, the valid percentage. The difference between percent and valid percent is the percent include the missing if you have missing, and the valid percent it included it excludes the missing values. So we calculate with percent with missing, and we calculate valid percent without the missing data. We can see here percent and valid percent are same because no missing. We included all the data. So this is the output viewer window. This is the data editor window with two views, variable view and data view. I finished the presentation. I will now play the video. I will try to do it from my device.
Hello and welcome to SPSS in 15 minutes. My name is Alexander. The goal of this video is to get you up and running with SPSS, to start using it in just under 15 minutes. In this video, I would tackle defining variables, entering data, and analyzing your data using descriptive statistics such as frequencies and other summary statistics. So I think we should get started right away. Right, so I've opened SPSS. You see that the interface may look similar if you have ever used Microsoft Excel. It looks like a spreadsheet. This spreadsheet is divided into two. There is the data view here, which is where you see your actual data, and there's the variable view, which is where you actually define and edit the questions that you've been asking on your survey or whatever questionnaire that you have. The first thing that you do when you come to SPSS, if you don't have data, is obviously to bring data in. And what I would do is I'll show you how you can create variables and enter data. Right, so I have a little questionnaire that I'll be using. The first variable I have on my questionnaire is interview ID. The rule of the variable names is such that you need to not include any spaces in the name and no symbols and or any special characters. Okay, so I'll just say interview ID. The type of the variable, I'll just click the button here, is basically in which format is the variable, is the data of that variable going to come in. And for interview ID, it's obviously going to be numeric. It's basically just numbers. So I'll just go ahead and click OK. All right, the width is just the maximum number of characters that will be allowed for this variable when I'm entering data. For this variable, 8 is quite generous, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Decimals, as you have suggested it's actually how many decimal places this variable is going to have. For interview IDs, no decimal places. I'll just remove this so that it's 0. Right, I'm using the tab key on my keyboard to move to the next. So the label is how the name of this variable should actually appear when I'm doing analysis, of which I'm just going to say interview with a space now ID. The values are the list of responses that are allowed for that question. This is mostly for questions that are multiple choice, which the interview ID is not going to be multiple choice. Missing is basically values that you are using to refer to missing values like not applicable, or if the question was not answered. We're not going to set this in this video. Columns is basically just how wide the column for this data is for this variable is going to be when you go to the data view. Now, alignment is just whether the data should be on left, right, or center. Measurement level is basically the type of the variable that you're dealing with as regards to how you are measuring it. To make this easily understood, I'll just say that scale variables are variables that are talking about quantities. These are genuinely quantitative variables, like how many people are there in your household. You're talking about the number of people, which is obviously a quantity. Or how old are you? You're talking about the quantity of time. Or how long is it from here to the next borehole, which is the quantity of distance, length, and so on and so forth. That would be scale variables. Ordinal variables are variables that are represented by words, but you can say that one category or one value is obviously on top of another value in terms of quantity or in terms of quality. For example, if you think about education levels, somebody who is at secondary school obviously has more education than someone who is at primary school. Or someone who is at tertiary school has more education than someone who is at secondary school, which means the variable education level should definitely be an ordinal variable. While nominal variable, basically, this is quite similar to the ordinal variable in that it's represented by words, but then you may not actually be able to say that one category or one value has more of the variable than another value in that variable. So for example, gender. Gender, we cannot say that male has more gender or more sex than female. So this variable obviously is not ordinal, but rather it's nominal. Other nominal variables, examples would be race or tribe or religious affiliation. We cannot say that Christianity or being Christian is more religion than Islam. They're just names of religions. That's where nominal is coming from. So for interview ID, it's neither scale or ordinal because these are just random numbers we are assigning to people. So it's going to be nominal. Let's go to the next one. The next one is going to be the name of this person. So name. Now, name cannot be numeric. Obviously, we have to type as text. So you click the button and you're going to select string. String means text variables. Go ahead and click OK. And then you go ahead to insert the label, which is just going to be name. Are you going to have any values? No. I may not be able to possibly know all the names so that I can fill them beforehand. So this is just going to be an open-ended question, no values, no multiple choice whatsoever. Most of string variables are nominal, so I'll just leave nominal as a default. The next variable is gender. Now, gender is going to be a numeric variable, which begs the question, why? Gender, you have male and female, which are words, yes. But then, we don't want people to have problems entering the data, missing spellings and so on. This variable is very important. So what we do is we specify values. So we have numbers that represent the values of gender, which are words. So, for example, we'd say 1 is going to be standing for male and 2 stand for female. Before we get there, decimals, I'll change this to 0. The label is going to be gender. Then we go to values, click the button, and the value 1 is going to stand for male. Then you click add. The value 2 is going to stand for female, and they'll click add, and that's enough. You click OK. That's how you set the values or multiple choice of a variable in SPSS. right? Then we go to measurement level. If you remember, I just mentioned that gender is a nominal variable because you cannot say that male has more gender than female. The next variable is going to be age. Age is traditionally a numerical variable. It's quantitative. You may want it to have decimals, or leave it like that. The label, I'll just say age. We're not going to put values because it's going to be open-ended. If you're 15 years old, you say 15. If you're 10 years old, you say 10. If you're 50 years old, you say 50. The measurement level, since this variable has a unit of measurement in years, and it's obviously numerical, quantitative, it's talking about quantity of time, then it's going to be scale. The last variable is a question. Did you eat rice in the past 7 days? So to make the name easy to read, I'll just say rice. The type is going to be numeric. Why? Because the response says yes and no. I'm just going to code them or give them value. So 0 is going to stand for no and 1 for yes. No decimals, right? No, I have to type the whole question this time. So did you eat rice in the past 7 days? I have to set the values. So I click the button. The values will be 0 is no, and 1 is yes. And I click add and click OK. So we made debate here on the measurement level. Is this a scale variable, or sorry, is this an ordinal variable or a nominal? It cannot be scale because obviously you're talking about no and yes, which are words. But is it nominal? Can we say that yes is more than no? Yes, it is. Or is it nominal? So for this variable, I'm just going to put it at ordinal. Once you do that, it means we have defined all the variables. The next thing is to enter data. The way you have to switch to data view to enter the data. Now, the way that we enter data is actually very straightforward. It's basically how you enter data in Microsoft Excel. But before we go there, I would say that go ahead and click this button here, which says value labels. That allows us to see, especially when the variable has values. So if we type 1 for male, it should actually show us male instead of showing us 1. So you turn that on. Then we'll go ahead and start entering data. So now that we have all the data in, the next step is now to analyze our data. Okay, so to analyze your data, what you're going to do is go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics. We'll start by looking at frequencies. Frequencies are just counts, or a matter of how many of this value do we have. This works much better for variables that don't have too many values. For example, for age, we have too many values of age, too many different values of age. While on gender, we only have a few values of gender. And did you eat rice in the past 7 days? We will actually also do have just 2 values. So when you're running frequencies, I would very much recommend that you run frequencies for variables that have a few categories like gender and did you eat rice in the past 7 days. So what I would do is you drag the variable to the right hand side. I'll drag the other one to the right hand side as well. The next thing is I want to throw in a few options. I'll go to charts and say I want some bar charts, okay, with frequencies, not percentages, and I'll go ahead and click continue. Make sure that we are displaying frequency tables, especially if the variables are categorical or they are either nominal or ordinal. Go ahead and click OK, and we have our analysis. Gender, there are, wow, 10 males and 10 females. It's interesting. And then did you eat rice in the past 7 days? We had 8 people who did not eat rice and 12 people actually ate rice. This is the chart for males, sorry, for gender, and this is a chart for rice. If you want to get this chart or the table in another program like Microsoft Word, all you have to do is right click and copy. In Microsoft Word, you just go ahead and paste, and then you write whatever narrative you want to write. Let's go back to SPSS. How about a variable like age? All right, okay, go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics. We'll go back to Frequencies. This time, I'll reset this, okay, by clicking the Reset button, and then I'll throw in the variable age, which is a scale variable or a continuous variable. Now, for continuous variables, you may not want to use frequencies because there's a high probability you have so many different values of this variable. What you want to do is to probably just go to Statistics and say you want probably the mean, the median. Maybe you also want the standard deviation and the range, maybe the minimum and the maximum. You may also want the quartiles, and click Continue. When it comes to charts, you probably want to have a histogram, which is the graph that you may want to actually run for variables that are continuous, like age, and you want to show the normal curve on the histogram, and click Continue. The next thing that you should not forget is to turn off display frequency tables, because again, you have too many values, different values for this variable. So the table, which shows all the values and how many people there are on each of the value, that is not going to work very well. So turn off this, and you click OK, and now you will see that we have a table of statistics, which show us that the average age is 20 years old. But the median age is 21, which is quite close. The standard deviation for age is 3.5, and it's the age ranged from a minimum of 13 and the maximum of 28. The first, at the top of the first 25% people, is an 18-year-old, and the median, which is also known as the 50th percentile, is 21. And at 75% of the distribution, you have someone who is 22.75 years old. And we have our histogram, which shows us that our data is roughly normally distributed, with more people at the center, which is at the median of 21. It's basically coming down here and coming down. So this is a very good variable if you want to go ahead and do other advanced analysis. If you want more learning, check out our YouTube channel or our website, uniquemultimedia.net/learning. But for me at this point, it's been under 15 minutes. Thank you.
Now I finished my presentation, my talk, waiting for your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Halafallah. This nice presentation, informative. If anyone have any question for him? So if no question, we will go to the next agenda. Our next agenda is to appraise an article using CASPA tool. Dr. Alwali, are you ready?
Yes, I am. And so sorry for everyone that I joined you guys too late. So I'm going to present today critical appraisal skills programs. So I'm going to start share my screen. Right. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes, it's clear.
All right. So for today, I'm going just to present a critical appraisal skills program. And what do you mean by critical appraisal skills program, and how we can use them like on a different study, so on systemic review or for case control or cohort or experimental. So first, it is a generic tool to find out or to investigate the strengths and limitation of any qualitative research methodology. So this is the first thing. So we try and use this tool to assess the strengths and limitation of the study. So there are 10 statements or questions has to be addressed when you kind of assess or validate the study. And so first we have to assess the clear statement of the aim of the research. So is the aim of the research clearly stated, and they have to be in one sentence. So the intention and the inspiration of the research. So say, for example, you wanna address, for example, COVID-19 and multiple sclerosis. So you have to make sure in the first, in one sentence, to mention clearly the aim of your research. That means maybe the relationship between COVID and MS, or maybe the changes in the progression of the disease after people exposed to COVID-19. So you have to be clear when you just trying to assess this part. So question 2 also, you have to make sure is the quality of research methodology appropriately can be like in both way, exploratory or explanatory. So like in exploratory, that's mean the question that or hypothesis that you don't have the explanation to it. So, and on the other side, on other hand, explanatory. So you have to make sure if the methodology appropriate or appropriately address the qualitative of the research. Statement number 3 or question number 3 also was the research appropriately addresses the aim of the research. And here we have to make sure when we judge the research, we have to look for like different of the relationship between independent and dependent variables. So you're trying to validate the address, you have to make sure in this paper, is this variables, dependent or dependent, being clearly addressed? So question number 4, was the recruitment strategy appropriately also to the aim of the research? As we mentioned earlier, say we have the aim of the research, we would like to find the relationship between COVID-19 and multiple sclerosis. So the recruitment strategy mean go in a parallel with the aim of the research, like the way you just you recruit your data. So through like kind of phone calls, mail, or letters out there. So you have to make sure just like go in the way that you put the purpose of your research. So in question 5, data collected, what the data collected also in the way that addresses the way issues. So what we have said here, that's mean the qualitative research, most probably quantitative data is most accurate. So the way that the data is collected, like survey, for example, is a common form. So through a survey, that's when you collect the data to address the way that you put your aim of the research. You mean like, for example, if the aim of the research also we have like kind of the link between, for example, influenza and comorbidities. So how do you collect this data? So through the questionnaire, survey, or what the method you use to collect the data? So in question 6 also, you have to make sure that when you get the paper, you have to look for the relationship between the researcher and participant being adequately addressed. So, and this is how we kind of like evaluated, they said much because it reflects the relationship between the researcher and the participant. So the way that like appropriately their information we collect being like secured safely, so that will give them an indication that it's an important step to build the relationship between the participant and the researcher. Also, the ethical issues have been taken into consideration. So like the ethical issue include, for example, was the researcher, was the participant voluntarily participate? I mean, like they have the choice to withdraw from the research. They're not coercive to do that. Do they sign a consent, informed consent? Also, do we discuss with them, that's mean the beneficial or the harmful of the result? And do we discuss with them that we will share the outcome result with them? So this all has to be taken. These issues have to be addressed when we judge the research. Also, what the data analysis sufficiently rigorous. So I mean like what they mean by that, they say like the NH mean like to ensure there is kind of unbiased experimental design. That's the most important thing. Also, is there a clear statement of finding? So at the end of the result, so with the result show a statement of clear finding. So they found association or not, relationship or not, decrease or increase. They kind of, it's clear that we have this finding there, so we can judge based on what they have. question 10, it's also about valuable of the research when you compare this research to other research outside there. So what does this research add to the literature outside there? So this will make sure is this research is valuable or not, based on what we have available in the data there. Any question? And really sorry, actually, since morning we're kind of really busy. And I'm so sorry, Dr. Nadir, I just sent you a message regarding that. We have an interview online just regarding the situation in Sudan. So I'm very sorry if I did not cover a lot of the data.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wali, and thank you, Dr. Khalifullah. Both of you did a great presentation and did your best and good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nader.
If not, maybe we can go to the next agenda.
We already finished.
Okay, maybe last 2 points or items, maybe we can talk about the projects and then we can talk about the agenda for setting the agenda for next week. Any one of the project or the team, project leaders or team members, do you have any updates? I got for the pain management in nursing homes, I got the email and the abstract from Dr. Ala and her team, which is great. And we are working to finalize it so that it will be suitable for submission. The due date is the 19th, so 6 days from now. And so we need to make sure it meets the criteria for submission, like word count or character count, and meeting the goals of that conference. Thank you for the team. Any other updates?
Regarding our project about the pain management before and COVID-19 and after COVID-19, I don't know if Dr. Ala is with us today, but I'm talking on behalf of her. Because she is the leader of our team. Our update about our project is that we almost finished writing the abstract.
I got the abstract, so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Dr. Nadine, and hello, everyone. Just I have one question regarding the reference, because we just put the 3 reference is related to introductions. We didn't do any reference for the result or the 11 study that we summarized. I don't know, do we have to include all the studies reference or just for introductions, or this is enough for 3 studies, or what do you think, Dr. Nadine? I cannot hear you. I don't know if you are muted.
For the references, can you hear me now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So for the references, it depends. Usually, yes, we use it for the introduction and then for the discussion. If we want to compare, so the introduction will give us a background about what the literature, how far they went into this topic, and what we will highlight the gap. So the goal or the aim is to find something that's not written in the literature. Or if it's written in the literature, if it's beyond like the 5 years or 10 years. Then we need to update about the same topic if you want to do something similar. So if you have the 3 reference for the introduction, that's well and good. Sometimes what people do is in the discussion part where you want to highlight or compare your result versus other similar studies results. And if you are in agreement or if your data and results are different, but they're big difference, something like that. So maybe you can add some references in that discussion part. But for the abstract, mostly you don't need a lot of references. If you want to turn that into a manuscript, then you can add more references. So I think 3 is appropriate. If you more than that, what people do usually, they will list the 3 references for the introduction part. And if let's say you have additional 4 or 6 or 7 other references, you don't have to put them. When we put the abstract, if it's accepted, when we put a PowerPoint slide kind of for printing or for the visualization, then we can add a link where people, if they want to go to see the long list of references, they click on that, or they have a way to go to another file or information page where you can list all the references. But for the sake of submission, 3 references are okay for now. Thank you.
Okay. And then I have to submit it with the reference because I see in the sample they don't have any reference. Should I also including?
The references is just for the reviewer when they review and decide if they want to accept or not. They want to because when I look at the abstract, there are some certain sentences where you are giving the information as facts. Let's say the shortage of physician or teams, providers or caregiver in a nursing home is increased during COVID. So this is a sentence where you need to back that up by a reference, for instance. Or COVID, older patients, something like the mortality is high. So for that sentence, you want to do some reference, something like that. So I think the 3 references that you mentioned are fine, but for the reviewer, when they look at your abstract, they may highlight certain areas. They want to double check the fact, are you making this up or there is already literature behind your
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nader. Thank you for your feedback.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Anna, and your team. So we will work on just to finalize it, and then it's all set to submit. Thank you. Give it a look again, make sure everything is aligned right, and nothing minor like mistakes, something like that. Thank you. Mohammed Tijan, I think you are raising your hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Just to inform the fellows here, this week we submitted 2 posters for the Psychiatric Updates 2021 Medscape Live Conference. 2 posters as well as 2 videos for the meeting. Thanks to my team, adults, for suicide among adults in Marion County. Thanks also to the bigger team working on the suicide cases in Marion County. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this updates and information. Great job. Thank you.
ما تخليني امشي طيب.
All right. There are two other hands. Salma?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Dr. Nader. Um, I had a very difficult time with my collecting responses. I'm at 94 right now. I think I'm gonna stop at 100 and cut the response shorter. Though we should be starting data analysis now.
So I think that's enough, 94, 94 or 95. I think that's more than enough for the and stuff. I think for the we can do either one of the two things. One of them is we can stop here and start the analysis and see, and if we can complete an abstract or something, if we are trying to submit to ANDA, then do that is the 19th. So if we want to work hard to get this is done before that and then submit, that's an option. If we want to submit it to AGS, we have the room. It's December the 1st, the due date. Other way around is to work on the abstract without finishing the analysis and still collecting. If you want to reach the 100, collect the more data. But for the abstract, what we can do is we can submit it with empty section for the data for the analysis part. We will state that we are working on finalizing the analysis and the discussion part as well. Sometimes is a good option if you still working on your analytics or your data collection. We did that last year for one of the abstract, I think, and it went fine. So they accepted it with recommendation to submit the final data and conclusion before, I think they gave us 1 or 2 months to do that. So that's another option.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for the update. And anyone else? So if I have a couple of, so when last week we talked about long COVID, and I spoke to the therapist, his name is Mihir, here and at one of the facilities, and I see a couple of you are interested. So hopefully in the coming couple of days, we will get in touch and we'll see and divide the task for that project and see if we can finalize some data and make the abstract and submit it hopefully to AGS maybe. All right. I have one notification or non-update. We have an idea about using YouTube for education about COVID in older adults. If any of you is interested, it's listed in the app as one of the projects. It's listed as to start or current project, utilization of YouTube as educational tool during the COVID pandemic. If anyone is interested in leading this project or working with a team, you can add your name in the list in the app. We can meet also. The link in the app, it has an Excel file sheet or Google Sheet. It has some of the YouTube videos listed with some information. We can add more information and then start analysis. I think it's an easier project. We can submit it fast to either ANDA or AGS as well. So thank you. All right, if no more questions or comments, maybe we can work on setting the agenda for next week. Actually, maybe if any one of you has information or invitation to interview, or they did an interview in the past couple of days, weeks, maybe you can share some of this information with the group now. I know Sarah has some, so congratulations to you and anyone else who had an interview or an invitation for interview. That's a good thing. Congratulations.
I received an interview, but that's on December 22nd. I scheduled. I just want to say anyone here that if anybody are interested practicing interview with me, just contact in the WhatsApp group. And also I would like to congratulate Dr. Nadir. I saw a Facebook post from MSU Family Medicine that he's leading a very good care of the nursing home facilities and all, which I probably shared with in the WhatsApp group. So I would like to big congratulations to Dr. Nadir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sumi. Thanks, everyone. Congratulations as well. So maybe we can go for next meeting agenda. If you want to help me set up the goal, the task, and who will help from the meeting. Sulafa, will you be kind enough to lead the meeting next week?
Next week? Okay. Yeah, I am available. I can lead that next week. Okay, sure. Thank you. And what team they will present next week? Sorry. Huh? The green. Okay. Sorry, because I barely hear you. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So anyone have any ideas or any suggestions as far as we want to learn about this, we want to learn about that? Or should we, I think it's a good idea to practice. So if we have a couple of you guys, maybe Sumi and someone else, if you want to practice next week as well during the week, if you want to, maybe one can be the interviewer and the other will be interviewee. Any volunteers? Let me ask Sarah. Sarah, what's your reflection? What do you think about you presenting yourself today, doing the interview? How do you feel about that? And do you advise people to do it next week, or you don't think it's a good idea? If she's with us, Sarah.
I'm sorry, Dr. Nadir, I barely hear you. I'm not sure whether all of them can hear you well.
I was asking if Sarah is available.
Okay. Oh, Sarah. Okay, sorry.
No. Okay. So anyone interested in being interviewer or being interviewee for next week, if you want to do mock interview session like today? So if you can't hear me, let me know. I think Samah said Can you hear me now, guys?
Yes, it's better now than before. Yeah.
So I want 2 volunteers, one to be an interviewer and the other one will be.
Okay. Also, I can send in the WhatsApp group and I will let you know Dr. Nadir, who will be the interviewer or interviewee. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Any other items you want to discuss? Any suggestions?
Yeah, I'm thinking of sending an article to the group. If you have a preference of any article, and I will go through some questions, so we all make sure that all the fellows are understanding how they can get like some point from the article, like for example, the background, the author rationale, exposure, the outcome. So I can make some question about this, and I will ask fellows next week about what the like some of these questions. So all of them should be prepared for that. Do you have a specific article you are interested in, Dr. Nadir? So you can send and I will prepare the questions.
Maybe I will send you by email one of the articles.
Okay, and once I receive it, I will send to all of them. So they will be prepared next week, and I will go through the questions. And I can send also the question before, so they know what we will ask during the session. Okay, thank you.
Also, I want to start a brief session like every part of the meeting to discuss some of the topics in geriatrics. So maybe 10-15 minutes, someone will present something about, let's say, falls or common conditions like delirium or some in the older population. We have slides already made. We have PowerPoint slides. What you need to do is just you read about the slides and then you present it. You can do it in 10-15 minutes. You don't have to go through the whole. If it has 40 slides, you don't have to go over the 40. You just select maybe 10-20 of the slides that important and you highlight what's important for you to discuss for the other fellows to know about this topic. So maybe I'll send you also one suggestion, one file, and someone might be interested in presenting that. Sounds good?
Yes, sounds great. Thank you.
All right, so we will have 2 persons to do the interview, one for the education part, and maybe you will discuss about the article and the questions with some of the other fellows. Okay. Anything else you want to discuss, guys, or any other thing you want to update or raise awareness? If not, I'd like to thank you all for coming over and attending the meeting. Thank you so much for your hard work. I hope you learned something, and we will see you next week. If you have questions, please contact me. You can call or text or send me an email. I'll be happy to answer your questions or help you as much as we can. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. God bless you.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nadia.